All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Psychedelic Light Show review, the show where we talk about all things light show. This is episode 8, part 2. I'm your host, Steve Pavlovsky. I'm here with my co-host, Chris Samardizch. And we're here with our very, very special guest, Robert Chouraqui of Androide Light Show from France. And he has been doing this since the 60s, since 68. So he's a true veteran, part of the original wave of European artists. Again, this is part 2. So in case you missed it, we have a part 1. And we talked in part 1, we just kind of talked a little bit about history of Europe and the French style. But in this one, we're going to get a lot more into the techniques and the methods that were used to create light shows back then and what Robert uses now. So I guess Chris, I don't know, you want to hit us, or do you want to say anything before we start, Robert?
I'm going to just say one thing. Robert does some beautiful work.
Yes, he does amazing work.
Really nice stuff. Okay, Robert, what do you got to say? Want me to kick in the slideshow, or you got anything to say?
Yeah, thank you for having me. So in this part, we will describe more the techniques, how we produce our slides, our media, our texture.
Cool.
Okay, I'm going to go for the slideshow here. We're going to show some analog gear coming up. Okay, share and.
So I will begin by describing the type of rig projector that we use. There you have an installation for a big event. So you have two. I think you have. I write it.
So from left to right.
From left to right, you have 2 Kodak carousel.
Wait, these are the new ones. No, are these super bright or
yeah?
What?
This is 2008. Because I don't have many pictures from. So this is the same rig, but it was photographed in 2008 at the museum. So 2 Kodak, probably new generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice
two overheads
right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now those are color scrollers you got on them.
These are modern color wheels.
Oh wow,
very effective. There you have old generation color wheels, and
right
behind in the middle you have 2 projectors.
Yeah.
You have also 1 below.
Right. Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah,
right see it down there.
Two below, in fact.
Yep.
One, and this one is a liquid one. And you have on the right 2 other liquid projectors. On the next
those are liquids.
These are Rancaldi's Tutor.
Yeah, that's a classic projector.
Classic for liquids, heat liquids. And the lower ones is a SFOM, which is a kind of Aldis French produce. This one. On the next one, I highlight them.
Okay, I'm
wait, actually, let's stay on this for a second, because really quick. So this is the show that you talked about on your on the last episode. This is your comeback show that you were asked to do.
Yeah, this was my comeback show. The
right.
museum
in 2008. Yeah.
Asked, are you able to put again a new light show for 3 days festival, many groups? So I say yes, but I was alone. My colleague were not available anymore. So they put me together with one of my competitor, between brackets of the early years, a member of Open Light, and we collaborate superbly. Artists don't have any ego or don't have any problem. We didn't know one another, and the overhead are his stuff, the 2 Kodak carousel are his stuff, and the rest is mine.
Cool. And just really quick, those color scrollers, I don't know if I've seen that, the 2 things hanging in front of the overheads. What is that? Is it a repurpose?
You go very rapid. No, it's a kind of color wheel.
It's a kind of color wheel.
One. The guy from the Open Light has now turned into a lighting engineer.
Okay.
So he brought this.
He made that though, right? That's not.
No, I'll explain. Let me explain to what they are. Okay, first of all, you got the magic arm holding them, which is really cool. You guys use magic arms. Okay, these in the lighting business, when we had just par cans, we would mount these in front of the par cans, and we have colors that scroll: blue, green, red, up and down.
Oh, so
on rollers,
like on a roller.
So it's a scroller, and it's an old school thing from like the 90s. Really, now they have inside the light, it changes color.
Yeah,
it's
like
LED
a gobo.
now.
Yeah.
So this is coming. It's scrollers. It used to be on the front of park hands. Now it's perfect. I never thought of using them for video projector.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Okay, sorry about that.
Next.
Okay, here we go.
So on the next, you see the what will be project liquids European style, and you see three projects doing that.
Okay, these three are doing this.
Projectors.
The three I have surrounded by red, and on the next slide you will see them in full view.
Okay, I have a question about this. How long does this effect last on the screen to get this look, or is it eternal? Or
no, you can turn it if you are good. You could turn it immediately. It begins slowly, but you could have it very rapid if you want. You could slower it if you want.
But doesn't the liquid eventually boil out of the slide? Like how long does that take before it kind of?
It's a bit like the plates. After 10 minutes, the color fade. The liquid will be not anymore in the center if it is too much heat, and there will be at the surrounding. So in the center you may have something which is too white, but you could change to another one, and you can also reuse it after some time.
It comes back together.
The liquids come back to the center.
Okay.
And you can reuse it. The only thing is you lose a bit the color.
Right, because it also like kind of shoots out a bit, right?
So maybe you like prep like 20 of these for a show, and then you can kind of keep them going all night. Right?
We used to prepare it while one was going. We could prepare in another one.
Similar, like some people do in plates. Some,
if you prepare it too early, the water goes away, and it's too sticky.
Yeah. And there's a great tutorial too that Lightshow Sphinx made about this stuff, and I'll link it as well in this.
There we go.
Yeah.
So
you can keep talking.
So there you have an example of the two type of projector which were mainly used. The SFOM was built in France, and the Rancaldis Tutor was a UK built one, and there was two main projectors used for liquids.
Yeah, obviously it's UK right here, and this is the French one. So.
You got a picture of my color wheel of the time.
Yeah, right. That's it, right there.
So you could see that our color wheels were small because we didn't use them for projector, for overhead projector. Yours seems huge. This was easy to transport and enough for a projector.
Right.
And the rank tutors, those were kind of the base for a lot of later optokinetics projectors, right? Is that kind of like the model that they
they put the disc. They put the disc in the part where.
Okay, here, ready? There we go.
Cool.
So here you got what could be a minimum installation for us, which was for projector, and I give you an idea of what I will use in this projector. We will have one for color wheel slides or polarized slide. This one could go alone. With itself, you can have a surface with good projection. You will have one for liquids, and the two lower one will be superimposed one on another on the same surface to do what I always describe hand flicker slides, which is by hand. You can
by hand
very rapidly.
Okay.
I will be behind them, and by hand you could do many things, many mixing.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. That's analog.
That's purely analog.
Pure analog.
That's even better. Handmade.
Yeah, that's handmade. Yeah.
Okay, here's a slide stash coming up. There you go.
So this is another difference from what I saw. So on the use of slide, we use a lot of slide. We use thousands of them. We nearly have 2,000. So we could not go with a super, how do you call it, the thing to see the slide, the
light table
and picking one slide. So this could not be our mode of working. So we had prearranged rack of slides. So for example, in the rack that you see, one will go with the same slide, will go well with with the other side.
Oh, so you knew, right? You had that's how you kind of sequenced your show and knew what was coming up.
And you see on my boxes, you have some names. One is called Clapet. Clapet is the flicker ones. So the left one is called Clapet, and the other one is called Geometric, alone. It means each one could be alone.
I see.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, so let's go to the
one. So this is an example of my producing some Moire patterns. Some are second generation Moire. Because instead, for example, you have Robert Chouraqui.com. Behind the .com, the one which is there is already a second generation prepared Codalit.
The one that the colored one, or the one on the right?
At the right of the color one.
And right. Because Codaliths are black and white. So these are also Codalith process.
Codalit, and was a Codalit. There was one in Ilford Lit, it was called, but it was graphic films.
Yeah, in part one, the second slide was artist that creates this kind of stuff, like this particular one or this one. So you mentioned that earlier, and then we take these and put them on an overhead and use it for part of the show, like maybe an opening band or something like that, right?
The big one were for overhead, the one you have at the top were for overhead size.
And then you make slides out of these.
But we produce our own ones, on design.
Okay, so that's the black and white-ish slides. Now here we go to, this is some good infrared stuff. So it's really cool. And explain this to us.
So again, we were using a lot of slides. We produce them. Since '68, we invest in a camera, Asahi Spotmatic, and I began to be the photographer. And it was good because it gave you a chance to photograph many ladies and landscape. And so these were some of the infrared pictures that I photographed. Infrared was a special film which produced these strange colors.
Yeah. And so the film was called Infrared, right? Or is that the name that you call it? Or
it's called
Infrared.
I think it was called Kodak Infrared.
Yeah.
In fact, it was not only infrared. It was more sensitive to infrared. So it's
so if there was infrared light, it would pick it up on the film. I get it. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, because there was some confusion when we went through, because you can't really see infrared light, but if you have a special film that can pick it up and translate that color.
Jimi Hendrix for some covers use it a lot, I think.
So to mention it, okay, just to sort of the layman here, the lawn is green here in this picture, right? But the infrared film makes it red and makes the trees red, which would be green. So, and Brian Epps would shoot this stuff, and I inherited some from the Brotherhood. So, it's common on both continents here. Also, we ended up using a lot of these type of slides, these black and white ones like this too.
Oh, okay.
So there is some portrait I took, which I mixed with
on the left.
On the left, center, it's a famous geographic, but I changed it by adding the black. And in the black, I was using another slide.
Oh, so that the one that Chris has a laser pointer on, that's actually two different designs.
Oh, I see.
That you put together.
So you have some again infrared. The bicycle is in infrared. The right one is infrared plus multiple exposure. And you have I photograph everything I saw which could be good. Upstairs you have some metal jewels, as I was a photographer. Left up, the first one is jewels I had to photograph. After you have a window screen, a shop window screen.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
And the two others are photographs of our light show.
Yeah, so the next three, right? So that's your light show there.
That's a liquid plus something.
Let's go back to France here, and there's some guy in the street here. Who is that guy?
That's me in London. 69.
It's nice to see you in London in 1969.
Flower
Wow,
power. Flower power.
Flower power. Yeah, dress sharp there.
That shop, yeah. And we were improving our light show by picking ideas and the photography of Hyde Park, which is a famous park.
Yeah,
again,
sure.
Again, infrared plus multiple exposure.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Next.
Okay, so what we got here is now a different technique, correct?
Yeah, different technique. Maybe you look first at the middle one or the one on the left, which are the same slide.
Oh, these two.
Mirror. I paint on the slide.
Oh, really?
So you see, for example, in the upper one, the wall is not paint.
Yeah.
In the second one, the wall, we call it selective painting.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you put each one with a color wheel, the wall was there or was not there, depending on the color on the wheel.
Yeah,
cool.
Right. They'll make an effect.
What do you use to paint it?
It was PBO Colorex. It was the same that you could use for plates or for liquids.
Okay.
It had to be a bit. If you paint on something which was too gray, it was not working.
Right.
It had to be really like transparent like this.
So these are after we project them.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them, sometimes negative, positive. Andy Warhol used the same technique later.
Right, but you did it first.
For his portrait. In fact, some others use it first. Bauhaus used it. I saw recently that Bauhaus was using the same thing without color wheel, but they was using the same thing, negative, positive in black and white. So no one invented anything.
Right. But you're actually projecting it, taking a photo of it, and then also
the car, for example, you will have a negative and a positive.
Right. And the slide itself is a negative or positive version of the slide, right? There's no color. Well, there's a color wheel to color it, but you're taking the negative version of the slide and the positive version of the slide, right?
A simple one could be the two slides are black and white.
Yeah. One
is a negative of the other.
Right.
A more sophisticated slide, like I showed earlier, is you paint selectively.
Mm-hmm.
So slide is black, white plus yellow.
Okay. Right.
And the other one is black, white plus red.
Right.
Okay.
Cool. What's the building up in the top right? That looks almost like San Francisco, but I'm guessing that's in France. It isn't. It is in San Francisco.
San Francisco. I shot a picture.
Oh.
In San Francisco.
Okay.
Look at that architecture knowledge.
Okay, so let's go to this. This next one's really cool. Here we go.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
So this is to give you an example of my liquids.
Mm-hmm.
Downstairs, the right one gives an example of liquids European style, boiling. Plus, we were missing a lot with faces or slides. So this gives an example. It's the picture has been produced recently. They are not from the 70s, but they give example of what we were performing and we are still performing as liquids.
And what about the rest of them? So that you have some boiling slides on the right, but it looks like the top left, for instance, or looks like it's like a marbling effect almost, right?
This one is with milk plus special liquids.
It's the milk trick. I see.
Oh, that's the milk trick. Right?
Yeah. So the two other ones will be more the US style.
Yep.
These guys. Yeah.
And that's a squash. That's a squash plate.
This looks like glass here. Yeah. This looks like
that's a squash plate.
Yeah.
And this one you said was cellophane.
This one is a kind of squash plate, but with a mask.
With saran wrap underneath it.
With a mask, and I paint on the mask. So for example, the kind of drawing that you have are coming from some painting.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Cool.
Pretty awesome. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
There we go.
So this is some European type of liquid. At the rehearsing of a famous meeting, there was an analog festival at Berkeley Museum for the 50 years anniversary. light show period of summer
of love.
And so I had the pleasure to be there, the only European, with all of you guys from the West Coast.
Right.
And I was rehearsing there my liquids.
So for the folks who are tuning in who aren't familiar with this, would you say 2007 or
17?
2017. Yeah. So there was a meeting of light show people, to celebrate the Summer of Love. So all those people there are members of some members of the Psychedelic Light Show Preservation Society, and it was like a big meetup that they had at the Berkeley Museum.
In fact, it was a museum who invited us.
Yeah.
The museum, when they had an exhibition. It was not only light show. The museum wants to have an exhibition for the 50th anniversary of summer of '68, and so Donovan Drummond and Ritz Banals call all of us to and organize all this.
Right. What they did here, Steve, was there's a stage right here, as you can see, and they had a band eventually, and the whole light show took over the first 2-3 rows. Yeah. And then above was the audience, about 200 people or whatever. Yeah. It was a theater. It was actual theater.
It was a bit too much. That's why it's better to be digital tools, because you leave some place for the public.
But I like it though, because then people can see, I like that the light show's in front, because everybody can see what you guys are doing and see the variety of techniques. I think that for something like this at a museum, especially, that, people can understand how the stuff is actually made. So, I think it's really cool that they were in front.
It was a bit too much because there were at the last jam, there were nearly 15 of us at the same time.
All going.
No light show was like that in the old times. Huh?
Right.
No. Yeah. It was also a 2-day event, 2 or 3 days, wasn't it?
3 days. 3 days.
3 days. Okay.
Cool.
All right. I'm going to move to this next guy. That was a good event. I was there.
So this is all picture from the early time. Mm-hmm. I show the left one. The left one is liquid, but chemical reaction liquid.
Right. Yeah, you were saying that. So sometimes the boiling liquid would do a more of like a longer fingers, but so this is all, the chemical reaction would do little fizzing or something like that.
Yeah, more bubbles.
Do you remember what kind of chemical it might be that you used?
Traditional one was. Sometimes I saw people talking about very dangerous chemicals. No. You just have to use vinegar and some other stuff. I don't know. Right. Bicarbonate in French.
Bicarbonate. Yeah.
Bicarbonate and vinegar, and you got some splendid things.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, here we go. Another one.
So this is also some example of liquids, but we project on. You see in the middle a kind of monolith. And we project at night on this one.
Beautiful.
In one of the famous buildings in Marseille, Le Corbusier is a famous architect, and he designed a super building in the 50s. And we had the pleasure to have a projection on this. So for that, I used two surfaces, one above the other.
Okay. Now we're going to go to these slides here.
So these are examples of what I call the polarized slides.
Yeah. Polarized, correct. And you can see right here.
You can polarized film, yeah.
I will show you the kind of film. Yeah. Without this film, in fact, the material is between two films. One is in the slide below, and you put another one in front.
Yeah,
this one.
And the way it works, physically, is the polarized film. Normally light is scattered and it's all over the place, but polarized film will only let light through in a certain direction. So a light emitting has all this light coming out, but a polarized film will, let's say, make like horizontal, let's say microscopic, horizontal beam lines that the light will come through. And so as you turn it, you only, you can start cutting out the light by doing it.
Oh, I see.
You are right. But if you use only this effect, you will just go from black to white.
Yeah.
The material which is in between
is
stretch, change, It's called birefringence. The architect use it on mock-up of bridges. They do mock-up of bridges in plastic, and they were projecting in Polarized to see whether the bridges was strong enough or not.
Oh, really?
Good.
That's cool.
Here we go. So now you can really see how the image doesn't show up if the polarized thing isn't over it.
This I sculpt with my cutter on a special material. And you could see that we also were very agitprop hippies. So the Donald was probably for an anti-Vietnam War meeting or something like that. The Picsou, sorry. Picsou.
And later on, you're going to show us some of this stuff too, right? In front of the screen.
Okay.
Some of your films.
Here we go. So this is
again in San Francisco, the Summer of Love. And you get an example of my projection. The middle one is by some of my US colleagues, the green plate, but the rest of the liquid of strange things,
these guys
are not coming from Venus, but from my light show.
That's your light show.
Oh, cool.
So that's a combo of stuff. And this was in 2017 in San Francisco.
2017 at the same Banfa Museum of Art and Film in Berkeley.
Oh, okay, great. Oh,
yes, it's the same show.
Okay, I got you. All right, here we go. Here's another museum piece.
So this is a meeting for the reunion in 2008, where some museum lady wake me up from my being underground, and I begin again to do some light show. So I propose that to show you what polarized projection do.
Oh, polarized. Cool. I see this polarized. Okay, here's your gear. So explain this.
Yeah, this is an example of the difference in gear. Right, it is my gear in from 68 to 2008. Up, you will have a normal gig projector, 4 or 5, and downstairs you will have the super event gig rig, which will be about 8 projector and overheads and a lot of. I'm too old for that, so that's why I turned to digital tools. And on the left, you have what I travel with now, just one computer. Sometimes a second to have a kind of backup, but on one I'm good, and a MIDI controller, which is like a piano.
Right here, MIDI control. Yeah, you can slide this back and forth and make.
You can slide, you can piano, you can do a lot of things. We use this tool not like VJs, but differently. We use it like we use color wheels. We use our hands. I use my hand in the time that I would use a MIDI controller the same.
I see. Yeah, you can do colors and sliding in and out and mixing.
Yeah, and you don't have anything that like listens to the beat. You know, a lot of VJs might have something that listens to the beat and will react to, but you don't react. It's you that's reacting to the beat. It's not the software.
Okay, so this is what it looks like on the screen when you're doing that stuff.
Yeah, so now it looks like that, and also it allows you to have huge projection.
Right.
With only coming with a computer. This was in a psychedelic festival for 3 nights in Copenhagen.
Oh, cool.
I just traveled. I had the pleasure to do light show on Moon Duo.
Yeah, they're great. That's a great band.
They're great music, and it was superb to play on them. And upstairs, I want to show that I use always a lot of ladies, dancers, not only liquids.
Okay, yeah, that's your style. I like that. Okay, so you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Digitally, you can also, many museums now ask us to have an exhibition for a month, and you cannot be there for a month. So I'm now good to design a DVD or video long loop to project. This was for a sensory tent. there was an exhibition of covers, of posters. There was some band concert. So I play also light show on the band, on some bands, but they needed also to have a sensory time to show people what could be the light show in the years. And so people, you could go to the next one. You could see people with headset with music.
They can lay down. Oh, cool.
And as there was no copyright on music, like on YouTube, I was able to do performance, 1 month performance on Jimi Hendrix, on Animals. I choose the music.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Nice. That's the one thing that's a bummer about, trying to perform. If you want to do something and then do a video for a music that you like, it gets taken down right away. And yeah, so that's great. If you do a private events like that, you can choose whatever music you want and nobody can say anything about it.
Next one.
Okay, this is your erector set stuff.
Yeah, this gives you an example of the type of pieces that we use. In Europe, this is called Meccano. It's a kind of pre-Lego.
Yeah.
And I use on my color wheels, I will show it later, the color wheels. I use these wheels to move a color wheel.
Yeah, and in the States, we had something called erector sets, which were similar, similar toys, like little mechanical, like little engineering toys that kids would use to build little machines. And Chris, you were saying that, light show guys and people would use erector set material, right, in the early days?
Well, it had a lot of these kind of like wheel things with these little screws that you could put on a motor, and then you could hook your color wheel to it, which he's going to show us. But I'm going to do a couple really beautiful shots I pulled that I think really show Robert's art here. So let's see. How about that one? That?
Liquids, new style.
Yeah.
Old style, project digitally, so you could have strong colors. Huh?
Really nice, like lightning bolt. And
the lightning bolts. I really like the lightning bolt effects there.
And then this one's really cool. I just love the way you've mixed, scenery and liquids and infrared together. Really nice shot.
Yeah. And this is a digital composition, or is this? It's both. It's analog, but then it's composed digitally after the fact.
As I was a photographer, for example, the tree is a negative. I think it's a negative positive thing with a mask.
Yeah, right.
The tree is everywhere. At some stage, it is
right. Yeah.
So it's a kind of superimposed, where the liquids are probably white. You can see the full negative of the tree, and in the rest, you don't see the negative.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So there's realism and psychedelic mix, and that's what I like. Okay, now Robert is really good taking pictures of women. I'm going to show really quick this one projection shot of some ladies.
This is very old slides with a light show things used to projecting on ladies to have picture to project again in the light show.
And you do a lot of artwork like this now, right? Where you project onto models.
Let's go back to the three of us, and he can show us.
Yeah, show us some stuff, because I know outside of light shows, you do a lot of photography work for these types of art.
There we go.
In fact,
art photos. Yeah.
In fact, in 75, light show went underground, and I began to be a photographer. In fact. So, and I use my skills of light showman for black and white strong things, or very strange. This is Polaroid, which is changed with a cutter. You could see also these are some of my posters. I don't know if you see it. You can see the type of light. This is very Bauhaus. I use. Being a light showman, you know to use the light, but also the shadow.
Contrast,
Contrast.
Yes, very good.
I had the pleasure also to have some covers. I was selling a lot of covers. This one was for Philippe José Farmer, which is a famous science fiction writer.
Cool.
Excellent.
I can show you, if we still have time, some of Polaroid.
Show us some of this stuff. So these are what we had photos of, but now we're going to see them. Yeah, hold it up for the screen so you can see it. So that's that's that lady, that's that model.
Let him talk because he'll dominate the screen.
Yeah, it's we use a lot also of I don't know how you call it to put black in order not to have a square photo. We mask to just keep the face. Moire. But
there you go.
Yep, I can see it.
Good.
Moire. What can I show?
Can you show some of your color wheels?
I try to show you some. These were the glasses.
Oh, right. The polarizing.
No, glasses that we use for the liquids.
Oh, that's the liquid.
Okay, yeah, little glass slides, yeah.
And by searching for it, I even found some old ones, probably.
And they still have some liquids in them, huh?
30 years old.
Really? Oh, wow. You could sell those as art.
They kind of got cooked in there, and so you kept them. Very cool.
Polarized wheel.
Polarized wheel.
And the center is the Meccano piece.
Yeah.
A motor. Meccano was also making special motors.
Oh, those are
cool.
nice.
You could change the speed. It was playing on 9-volt batteries.
That's it. Okay.
So we put it on the projector and we change the speed. You could reverse it.
Yeah.
Very
cool.
Yeah, we used a lot these heavy Granger motors. They were like, that big. So that thing's really nice and lightweight.
Color wheel.
Oh, beautiful.
Straight color wheel.
So our color wheel was much smaller than yours because we didn't have the overhead projector to cover. So we just cover. Usually it was one for each projector, which is different from the one I saw. And by having one for each projector, I think you use more colors.
Yeah, I like to pile 4 projectors up and then use the wheel on each one. That kind of creates a different effect than the individuals, but it's still some similar effect.
Also some.
Cool.
My picture, French style, I call it already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I show the video of the polarized slide?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the video you have is not the polarized slide. Is the what I call the positive negative.
Oh, the positive negative. Right. Okay.
The pre-Warhol effect.
Right. Okay. Give me 1 second to get that up. All right.
There we go.
All right. So let me hit play on that. Okay. This is an all analog effect. This isn't like any digital manipulation. This is the.
No, I film it in video.
You film it, yeah.
But the slides are analog slides that I use at the time. So you have 2 slides.
Yeah.
Wheels, color wheels.
And a color wheel spinning in front of it. Yeah.
And in fact, you color everything. You color the negative on one and the positive on the other. It's exactly. In fact, it was Andy Warhol that give you there. You don't have wheels, but you have example.
Yeah.
Multiple of them of what will happen on the screen with this. Andy Warhol used it later. In fact, it was also used for silk printing.
Yeah, silk screening.
Serigraphy for posters. So that was
cool. Yeah.
So this gives you an idea of what we use in Europe, which I think is quite different from the US.
Oh, yeah.
The slides are much more used. The liquids were used, but different ones. We didn't use them too much alone. We use liquids plus Moire, liquids plus slides. The slides were used with a kind of pre-scenario.
Yeah, I think in general, all the best light shows, whether it was in, in America or, in Europe, I think that, and, all liquids all the time is a little boring, so I think it's really, by mixing all the best light shows really had multimedia, as you, to use that word. So you had a lot of different styles and a lot of different types of imagery and techniques mixed in together. And that's what, I think that makes a really much more interesting show than just like a all liquid show or something like that.
And today with that, I try to adapt when I go to a festival. I try to adapt my style to the band I will be working with.
Right.
If you have 6 bands, I try to have different style for each one. It's not Android, it's Soft Moon, Moon Duo, and for each one. And when I have time, I show them in advance. I'm thinking to use this for you. It gives you the confidence of a band.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a different set for each one.
Sure.
For some, I will do a set nearly all black and white.
Mm-hmm.
There is one which is famous, Soft Moon, very good group, and they like black and white. So I use nearly everything black and white.
Yeah,
that's a good thing. Have contrast in your show.
Have contrast, and also just having a lot of different, techniques and styles that you use allows you to, when you get to that point when you have to do 6 bands, now you can, break them up, and you can have a lot of variety and make each set look different and all that. I think that's great because I think like some bands, they might not necessarily be a liquid band, or they might not be, or they very much are a liquid band, and I think that certain bands don't need that, so it's good. Yeah, very good to have the variety.
Important part of your show is layering, and and you mentioned silkscreen, Robert, and I did silkscreen and did 3 color separations and learned how to make a t-shirt design, a graphic design with 3 colors. And maybe the liquid would be the backdrop, and then the stuff in front dominates. So you're doing a light show. The pulsating's back there, but there's an image in front of it. And I use a lot of stills in my show because, I think stills are really, they tell a big story if it's a great shot or a great image. That's my opinion.
Agree.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I think.
Yeah, we're at about 44 minutes, so we're pretty good here, guys.
Yeah.
So maybe I have still many things to say on the digital tool period.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So maybe you could have me back, not for an episode, but for some 5 minutes talking about how we use when we are in a digital tool world, how we use it differently from the VJs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the things that we're trying to do with our show is, we're kind of trying to just go chronologically, starting from, the 60s onward and, just kind of, and so, we're going to get to a point where we're going to get into modern techniques and, maybe we'll have you back on a panel or something like that as well. We've been doing some panels. We have a new one that's actually actually this show is coming out after that, but at the time of recording this, it's coming out tomorrow. So anyway, we're going to be doing some panels as well. And man, thank you so much. We'd love to have you back. And, really, really appreciate you taking the time to put all these slides together and organize the information so well. You really did a great job of it. And, I appreciate the work that you put into it and sharing, this great and rich part of light show history that, sometimes gets overshadowed, by, the American stuff, but it's very important. And it's a beautiful work, as we saw that you did, so it's great that, that you came and talked to us about it. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. And continue the episodes. I'm still learning.
Yeah, we're still learning. This is our 8th episode, so we're learning as we go along. And we're hopefully improving. And thank you everybody who's been sticking around and watching our shows and all that. We appreciate the support and appreciate the nice comments and all that. So, thank you everybody.
I feel like I did some kind of a light show with Robert there today on. About as close as we can get to a light show without going, going to a venue these days. So
I hope someday the 3 of us and more could be in a common festival and jam together.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that would be amazing. I would love that. And, you know, I mean, the light show is, you know, and what the light show exists in the mind anyway. It's all perception. So, you know, we might have done one, even though we didn't actually do one. We did one in the mind for everybody.
We still have plenty of time in the future here. So,
yeah.
All right.
All right.
Looking forward to the digital show with you because we see eye to eye on that stuff.
Yeah. I just got vaccinated, so I'm here 20 more years.
20 more years. Nice. Great.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Fantastic.
All right. Well,
Hey,
thank you very much. And yeah, thank you for watching, everybody.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. And we'll see you on YouTube and all that good stuff.